Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Welcome to the second webinar for the Global Money Week 2022. We are going to wait a couple of seconds for everyone to connect. Okay. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. Welcome to this second preparatory webinar for the Global Money Week 2022. I think you all know me by now. My name is Bianca Isainku. I work with the OECD. I'm part of the Global Money Week Secretariat. Today's webinar is focused on the monitoring of the Global Money Week activities and implementing practices that help you understand whether the Global Money Week is achieving its objectives in your country. So the Global Money Week Secretariat will be presenting the Global Money Week Postform. Many of you already are familiar with this form. It will become available after the Global Money Week. And we have also invited 3 speakers to provide examples on practices on how they monitor the Global Money Week implementation in their country. So as last time, I invite you to be active and ask your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A function. And of course, we will be happy to address your questions either after the presentations or at the end of the webinar. So I would also like to mention that this meeting is being recorded and it will be available after the webinar on the Global Money Week website, as well as alongside with the slides that will be presented today. So today we are starting the meeting, and to do that, I will give the floor to Ms. Flora Messi, who is our Head of Consumer Finance, Insurance and Private Pensions at the OECD, and she's also OECD's International Network for Financial Education Executive Secretary.
Thank you very much, Bianca, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be opening this second webinar in preparation of the Global Money Week. I will share my screen for a few slides that I hope you will see well. You just let me know. Can you see the slides well? Okay, thank you, Bianca, for nodding. As I said, it's the second of those webinars that we are organizing. Bianca already told you that the theme will be really to look at monitoring the implementation and success of Global Money Week activities and make sure especially that the Global Money Week activities in your countries are actually achieving your own objective and goals. I remind you that actually the Global Money Week has 10 years, so we are very pleased to be celebrating this 10 years anniversary with all of you, and of course encourage you to be very active in this year activity. Just a few words about the Global Money Week this year in 2022. This is the theme, Build Your Future, Be Smart About Money. It can be used by all participants to create Global Money Week activity. Obviously, the theme is trying to capture the importance to think about one's own future and being forward-looking when making financial decisions, as well as thinking in terms of sustainability and the digitalization of financial services, which we all know has accelerated as a result of the pandemic. On your right-hand side in the slides, you see the official hashtag for the Global Money Week this year. Obviously, we encourage you to use them in your social media activity. Coming to the resources that were developed for this Global Money Week year for 2022, we have a Global Money Week toolkit available in English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Russian. Same for the Global Money Week brochure. So you have, those kind of guidance in several languages, and we of course invite you to have a look and consult them when designing your activities. Global Money Week branding guidelines are also available, as well as a social media toolkit, Global Money Week reports for the last years, giving you some ideas on what kind of activities you can develop and actually learning from each other on those activities and I would say innovation. The Global Money Week logo and design is also available. Today, as was mentioned at the beginning, we really want to focus on this monitoring on the implementation and success of the Global Money Week activities. we will be presenting as Secretariat for the Global Money Week, the Global Money Week Postform, which are really intended at collecting information on your activities and its success. And we are very lucky to have 3 speakers today who will be sharing their experience in monitoring Global Money Week activities and factors that make a Global Money Week edition successful. So first, I'm very happy to say that José Alexander Calvacanti Vasco, who is Director, Office of Investor Protection and Assistance in the Securities and Exchange Commission of Brazil, CVM, will be presenting first. Then we'll have Isabella, Head of Department at the Deputy State Secretariat for Financial Policy Affairs in the Ministry of Finance of Hungary. And last but not least, Luis Vaz, Head of Financial Education Unit in the Banking Conduct Supervision Department in the Bank of Portugal. So of course, as Bianca mentioned at the beginning, we are really eager for this webinar to be as interactive as possible. And of course, we are here to answer your questions. So please do not hesitate to use the chat function, as was mentioned, or also to ask questions in the Q&A session. And well, stay tuned, as it just mentioned here, this is the 10-year anniversary, it's a special edition. So we really count on you to be very active during the week of the Global Money Week this year. With that, I'll stop sharing my slides and hand over to Bianca to moderate the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karan. And now I will right away pass the floor to Mr. José Alexander Vasco, who is Director in the CVM in Brazil, and also he's the chair of the Global Money Week Working Group. So Vasco, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Bianca and Florene, for this opportunity. I'm talking now on behalf of the working group members, and I'd like to thank all Global Money Week participants for the strong support. This is a global campaign, so it's a global effort that truly echoes our values on fostering cooperation, working together in an international level. I also want to mention that it's interesting that we are approaching the 14th anniversary of the launch of INFI in Washington in 2008. So 14 years later, we now have this, thanks to OECD leadership, this network that is the largest network for promoting financial education in the world, and this very successful campaign. So I'm really honored to have had the opportunity to cooperate with these initiatives. I also want to briefly mention that this campaign is only possible through cooperation, and that means the Sustainable Development Goal 17, which is partnerships for the promoting sustainable development. And these partnerships, and especially on financial education, also help us to achieve a lot of other goals like Goal 4 on quality education, on economic growth, on reducing inequality, on responsible consumption, and also on climate action, as the campaign now is many countries are also delivering content on sustainable finance, climate action for schools as part of their financial education programs. So financial education, and this campaign in particular, is a huge opportunity to support sustainable development in our country. So thank you so much for this global alliance, and I wish we all a very successful campaign. Back to you, Bianca.
Thank you so much, Vasco, for reminding us about the importance of collaboration. This is really great. Thank you for being with us. And now we are going to start. First, there will be a presentation actually from the Global Money Week Secretariat, that is by me, on the Global Money Week Postform. I will share my screen. I hope everyone can see it. Yes, can someone make a sign? It's good. Okay, perfect. So today we are talking about monitoring the implementation of the Global Money Week, and specifically of the Global Money Week Postform. I, of course, am sure that many of you know by now the 10th year anniversary of the Global Money Week, how the Global Money Week works. In fact, it works through collaboration, as mentioned by Vasco, and by activities that are organized by different organizations all over the world. At the same time, they are somehow kept together by a common theme, by a Global Money Week Secretariat, in a way, through amplifying what happens at national level, through social media, through the Global Money Week website, and through sharing information from different parts of the world. And this, of course, is again done with your support by submitting to us information about the activities that you are organizing before the campaign, and also sharing with us what has happened during the campaign afterwards. So today we are focusing on this two, let's say, processes of collecting data. So we want to share with you a little bit more in depth how this works in practice and what we also expect to receive from you, and of course to answer all the questions that you might have in relation to this. So you see here on the slide the two forms that I'm mentioning, and this actually, we call them pre-campaign form and post-campaign form. They are basically surveys that allow the Global Money Week Secretariat to collect information from different countries in a standardized way, and of course for us to afterwards share and amplify what happens around the world. I think if I will move to the pre-campaign form, many of you are already familiar with this form. It is, of course, it's a survey. It is a simplified survey. It's a simplified form that basically allow you to share with us what are your plans for the Global Money Week. We normally start to collect this information a couple of months before, and this information is important for us to understand how big the campaign is expected to be each year, and also it allows us to collect information about what types of organizations are participating in the campaign and what types of activities are planned. And of course, it allows us to understand how many countries are planning to take part in the Global Money Week campaign, and to sharpen our messages around a communication on social media and on the Global Money Week website. Normally, the pre-campaign form only has a couple of sections. Many of you have already filled this in, so thank you in advance for that. We are asking information about who are the coordinators, coordinating and participating organizations in the countries, what are the activities planned, and especially we are also asking for your social media handles so that we can tag you and follow you on the social media and share information around what happens in your countries. We encourage you to share this information with us before the 1st of March this year, so that we are aware of what happens around the world. In addition, this year we are also requesting you to inform us by email if you're planning to organize any regional or national launches, Global Money Week launches. And this is because the Secretariat is planning to put together a calendar of international events on the Global Money Week website. So if you're planning anything like that, please get in touch with us through the email, and then we will give you more details about how to take this forward. I will move now to the Global Money Week post-campaign form. And maybe you will think, why do we talk about the Global Money Week post form while we are still in preparation for the Global Money Week? And this is actually important to start thinking about the, let's say, after and the reporting and how you measure success in your planning in a preparatory phase. So you want to think about what indicators you want to track. You want to think about how you're planning to measure success, what processes you need to put in place to actually see if the Global Money Week in your country is achieving the objectives and the impact that you wanted to achieve. So first of all, it's important to have this process in mind for yourself, for your organization, for your country, to use this information for your own evaluation. At the same time, of course, this is very important for the Global Money Week Secretariat, because as you know, of course, during the Global Money Week campaign, many activities are happening, and the Secretariat is trying to keep up with everything that happens around the world. But the important reporting process is taking place after the Global Money Week campaign through the so-called post-campaign form. So in this presentation, I would just like to provide a quick overview of the information and the indicators that we at the Secretariat are planning to collect after the Global Money Week, so that you can be prepared in order to be able to anticipate and organize the collection of these indicators. Many of them you are already familiar with from the past, so I will of course focus mostly on the new additions of this form from this year. And many of you also are aware of the fact that we encourage the collection of data and the reporting to the Secretariat by Global Money Week national coordinators. This is a sort of a new formal role that we've introduced last year, and we really encourage the organizations in the different countries to get in touch with their national coordinators and, of course, coordinate the activities during the Global Money Week and also the reporting. And of course, this is important for us because it allows us to have a coordinated approach at national level and simplifies our work in a way. But it's also important because through national coordinators, we can, in a way, make sure that the participating organizations in different countries are aligning their activities with the guidelines that are issued by the Global Money Week Secretariat and by the national coordinators in terms of participation of private and not-for-profit stakeholders in the Global Money Week. Now, if your country does not have a national coordinator, you don't have to panic. You can still participate in the Global Money Week, and you're very much encouraged to do so. And in that case, you will just get in touch directly with us at the Secretariat, and we will guide you through the process. So I will now present the form, the post form, so that you are aware of what's coming your way. But I also want to mention that this form is available online on the Global Money Week website. It is just an example. It is a PDF form, so please do not fill in this form and send it to us. This is going to be available live for you to fill in on the 28th of March, but we are making it available for you so you can see what the type of indicators you are going to be requested to send to us. So now going to the post form, you are mostly aware of how it is structured and what are the main parts. I will go quickly through them, emphasize the new areas. So the form is structured this year in 9 parts. The first part is going to collect information about who is the institution, the contact person filling this information, and about the leading organization that has collected the information and that is submitting the information to us. The second part is asking information about the participating organizations, the number of participating organizations and the type. So we are interested to know if there are government organizations, private sector organizations, NGOs, schools that are taking part in the Global Money Week. And also we would like to know if there's new participating organizations. And by new here, we mean organizations that participate in the Global Money Week for the first time. It's interesting for us to collect this information because it allows us to see if the campaign grows from year to year and in which direction. So if you are able to collect this information, we appreciate it if you can send it to us. Then the section 3 of the post form, it also collects information about the types of activities that you organize in your country. So these typically refer to workshops, to webinars, to school visits, to a different kind of activities. We have been surprised throughout the years by the innovations and ideas, innovative ideas that you have. And we are curious to know what you plan each year. And we also encourage you, in fact, to send us a description of any new or innovative ideas or activities that you are organizing in your countries. And we ask you to share with us why do you think these activities are innovative for your country. And of course, the last part under this section is referring to the specific target groups that are targeted by the implemented activities. So what type of so is it young people, which subgroups of young people, or is it adults? Are you targeting teachers, parents? So we would like to also know a little bit more details about your targeted audiences. Now, section 4. I would like to focus a little bit more on section 4 because section 4 is actually focusing on the outreach of the Global Money Week campaign. This is not necessarily new. We have collected this over the past years. And here, as you are all aware, of course, we differentiate between activities reach in direct and indirect reach. And also we distinguish between activities that are focusing on young people and those that are focusing on adults. And this year, we also have a new indicator, which is supposed to capture the inclusiveness of the Global Money Week. So first of all, I would like to mention what we mean by direct reach. So for us, for the Secretariat, direct reach refers to the number of participants engaged through events, through workshops, through sessions, all types of activities directly. So basically, these participants are directly involved in this workshop. They participate actively. They are in the schools or they are in the webinars, but they are actively engaged in these activities. They can be online or offline. Of course, we still are in this situation where in many countries, face-to-face activities might be difficult this year. So online activities are still very much welcome. You can count these numbers of participants for your direct reach. Indirect reach, instead, it refers to the number of participants engaged indirectly that have been reached or that have came in contact with information about the Global Money Week through your campaigns, through social media, through TV shows, press releases, news articles, and so on. There's different ways to track this, and I think we will hear from the countries presenting later today some ideas. But this is the type of information that we are looking to receive from you. This also can include, for example, numbers of clicks or access to open source materials that are used and prepared specifically for the Global Money Week, for the Global Money Week campaign. And I would like now to just mention what about the new indicator that we are going to introduce in the post-campaign this year, and relates to the inclusive reach. And here, and the inclusive reach refers actually to efforts to track a variety of, to reach a variety of subgroups of young people of the target group within the Global Money Week campaign. So here it can be, for instance, efforts to ensure that both boys and girls have access to equal opportunities to participate in the Global Money Week campaign, efforts to reach most part of the countries, including urban, rural, remote areas, efforts to reach vulnerable target groups. So really efforts to showcase that you have tried to be inclusive in your Global Money Week activities. And here the reporting is flexible because we understand that it's very difficult in a way to gather disaggregated data. So of course, if it is possible, we appreciate that. If you can send us information, disaggregated data by gender, by location, and so on. Otherwise, we will encourage you to describe your efforts to be inclusive in your Global Money Week activity. So this is, let's say, the novelty of this year reporting on the outreach. So section 4 is about outreach, and then we're moving forward. These are sections that are more or less you are familiar with. We have section 5, which refers to the summary of events and the activities. And this is an important section because actually the summary that you are going to submit in this specific box is going to be, of course, with the caveats, and it's going to be used by the Global Money Week Secretariat for the report or on the Global Money Week pages. And one note that I would like to make on this point is that for countries where there is a Global Money Week coordinator, the summary of the activities and the events here should refer to activities that happen within the country and not necessarily only of the activities of the reporting institution. So this is where the coordination needs to happen. Here we also will have questions about how your activities have addressed the Global Money Week theme. Florian mentioned before, this year's Global Money Week theme is Build Your Future, Be Smart About Money, which allows flexibility in a way to think about different ways to address this topic. So really looking forward to hearing from you and hearing your innovative ideas about addressing this topic during the Global Money Week. We will also gather information about monitoring and evaluation of the impact of the Global Money Week events organized in your country. And this is in fact how we've discovered the activities that Hungary, Brazil, and Portugal are implementing every year. So they will be able to share with you more in depth about this. We have a section on media. We are familiar with this, testimonials and quotes, which is basically testimonials and quotes that you can share with us from either young people or children that are excited about the Global Money Week to let us know what they think, or from high-level personalities from your countries. a photo on a section of photos. I'm going to talk about it in a couple of seconds, and feedback to the Global Money Week Secretariat. We are always keen to hear what is your feedback for us and how we can improve. So I would like to just finish now with a couple of remarks with regards to the photos, to the photos that you normally send to the Global Money Week Secretariat. And this, in a way, it is a novelty. Some things have changed from the past. And of course, we are all aware of the importance of celebrating, and normally Global Money Week activities are very excited and young people are excited and we like to take photos. But what is important for us, and we really would like the organizations to keep in mind, that you need to make sure that whenever you are taking photos of the participants in Global Money Week activities, you need to ensure that you have the consent of those that you are taking photos from. So if you're taking photos from adults, make sure that you have their consent. If you're taking photos from young people where they are identifiable, make sure that you have the consent of their legal representatives to take these photos and share them with the Global Money Week Secretariat. So we cannot be prescriptive in the way in which you are collecting this consent. So it is up to you, because each country, each institution may have a different policy on this topic. However, whenever you are sharing these photos with the Global Money Week Secretariat, for us it is essential that these photos are accompanied by a photo permission form in which you are granting to the OECD the rights to use this photo. And by filling in this form and signing it, to guarantee that our institution actually is the legal owner of this photo, of the copyright of the photo, and that you are guaranteeing that, and you are giving to the OECD the rights to use these photos worldwide, non-exclusive, perpetual, and irrevocably. And we can publish these photos on content which is related to the Global Money Week campaign. So this is quite important for us, and I wanted to emphasize this because without this photo permission forms, we will not be able to use any of the photos that you are going to send to us. And of course, if you have any questions on this topic, since it's maybe something that in the past has not been so clear, you can please reach out to us. Either you can ask questions now, or you can also reach out to us afterwards by emails, and we will be happy to clarify and provide more details. So this is all I wanted to say before I give the floor to our speakers, to our guest speakers, and very much looking forward to hearing from our speakers, their experiences, and very much looking forward to celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the Global Money Week with you all. So let me stop sharing right now. And I think we are straight going to move to our next session, which is the sharing of experiences of our colleagues from Brazil, from Hungary, and Portugal. So with this, I would like to give the floor to Vasco to share the experience of Brazil.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm going to share Brazil, what we are planning for the upcoming campaign, and also some lessons we have learned, and especially on social media that I think might be useful for us. Just a few sound practices, and I comment that I think this is a huge opportunity to cooperate with educational systems. I'm focusing on schools here. Global Money Week is not only for schools, but I think it's a very important part of the campaign. And so in the past, we could partner with schools directly, but now because there's a lot of complexities that COVID-19 forced the systems to deal with, we also have some opportunities to work together with the school departments and Ministry of Education on financial education, and perhaps plugging your own campaign to your programs in your jurisdiction that are supporting distance learning. So take advantage of the government program resources. In many, Brazil is a federation, so secondary education is the responsibility of states, and many states in Brazil launched their own apps during the COVID-19 to support kids that do not have good access to internet to have some lessons through distance learning. So try to plug into these apps and deliver content seems to be an efficient measure that perhaps can help you to have more impact. We also think that you should not develop content only for Global Money Week, although it's, of course, the most important campaign for financial education, but also support a permanent shift the way that financial education starts in classrooms, virtual or in-person classes. And that links to the fact that if you have a national curriculum in our country, try to pool your resources to support the inclusion of financial education in the school curriculum, or if financial education is part of the school curriculum, to make it happen, to make it more effective. So work in partnership and creating online open education resources with your national curriculum. You will be supporting the teachers. And inclusion, of course, we all love to have very beautiful materials, sometimes with a lot of videos, but we should not forget the teachers and students that lack access to high-speed. Also, as we should try to be aware of mind that the digital gap, especially in Brazil, where there is and the cities. So the main results we have achieved in Global Money Week Brazil in 2021 was we have a small team of financial education, around 10 people, but we were able to support and organize more than 1,900 initiatives in Brazil. And thanks to the key of success, which is cooperation. So more than 600 events, live radio, TV programs, and more than 1,000. We call marketing initiatives because it includes not only social media, but email marketing and other initiatives. I think it's very good now that we have this high quality Postform that will help us to compare the different results, the different ways to reach to students and teachers through direct impact or indirect impact. And so we managed to have 27 partners in Brazil last year, hoping to do more this in 2022. And so we were able to reach around more than 1 million people through different channels. And we also have a survey, a very simple one. And so almost 99% of the audience was very satisfied with the initiative. So I think we need perhaps to check again these numbers because it seems too good to be true, but that's what we got from the questionnaire. And I think something that we decided to when last year, actually we invest a lot in Global Money Week in Brazil, and instead of launching a hot site, which is something good, we also improve this hot site for the campaign to have a lot of materials. So it's more a platform, students, teachers, and parents to be informed about the campaign, but also to have access to books, videos, podcasts, and a lot of materials that can help to a school to organize the campaign, an event, but also to work with financial education through the year. So it's not only the campaign. So we thought that it would be better, instead of having just a hot site for the event with the agenda, so people can get information about the campaign and for example, for the script, and decide to join a webinar. We also try to put a lot of content here and have this hub for financial education for young people and teachers. So something that was very useful was a podcast. We launched a podcast for teachers, and this so teachers can learn about financial education, investing, and supporting these discussions with kids in schools, in classrooms. We also make available all the financial education books in Brazil that were supported by the National Strategy for Financial Education, or developed and tested in 2019. So the methodology and the books and videos and everything that could support activities in schools, the events agenda, and also some competitions among kids. So I think this website is still relevant after the campaign, not because you have a lot of materials here that can support your activities. In terms of our planning for the next campaign, we have already updated our web page, and we design a strategy for reaching out new partners and make the campaign more relevant. So we sent a message to all participants last year, informing about the campaign, and we will host a local webinar in Brazil, in Portuguese, of course, for our colleagues that want to be part of this campaign. Of course, these webinars hosted by OECD are very important, but we think we can have more local content for teachers and more easily accessible to them. And then we have a series of meetings. We can't meet everyone, so we are choosing some stakeholders that are perhaps more relevant for impact, and we are planning meetings with them, and the campaign will be launched, and the surveys will be run after the campaign. So it's a very simplified timeline, but there's a lot of planning here in terms of social media and also communication with the press. And talking about the social media, I want to share with you our some, I think this is a very interesting analysis. If you can check on the right side, you have social media impressions. We have 9 social media profiles. Telegram is to be launched, but it was created. And since 2009, and we decided to have one integrated channel for education. So the CVM, the Brazilian SEC, has its own social media profile and supervision activities, but for education is one integrated channel, and that makes things easier to talk about financial matters to kids and teachers. And if you check on this graph, you see that the impact of Global Money Week. So in March last year was the peak on Instagram and that's because Global Money Week. We also had other campaigns in October, the World Investor Week, which was important. December is a very important month for us because it's the anniversary of the capital markets law. Of course, this is not important in other countries, but it's important here. So we always have an event, and this event, we always use this opportunity to promote investor education. And it's interesting to see that Instagram was launched in 2020 as a way to respond to the challenges of was the first time we did that, and it was very successful. But even though Instagram is a very, I think, popular platform, you can see that LinkedIn in December 2021, I have more impressions than Instagram, because we have different segments, and for LinkedIn it's more about professionals and investors, and then we tailor some messages that were very efficient to to talk to this segment. And of course, the consequence was that LinkedIn was more popular than Instagram in our network. So I think that there's no silver bullet, but social media, of course, is very important. And I also want to share with you something that is not relevant now. We're putting a lot of effort here, but we are learning a lot. And I'm very happy to have Hungary here, because I think Hungary was the first country to use TikTok as an educational tool, I think in last year. And we talked to Minister of Finance of Hungary. They were very patient. They taught us a lot. So it's a very good collaboration. So we launched our own profile last year, and we are learning how to do this. So we started with animations, and now we have some videos with not computer generated figures, but actually real people. Our interns here, we hire a lot of interns that like social media. So it's totally in-house developed these materials, and we are becoming more relevant and learning a lot. So we launched last year a campaign, a contest on TikTok, and we are going to launch a new one in March this year, perhaps to help us to keep improving and learning. So Telegram is the next social media profile, and we will focus on teachers as we launched a program with the Minister of Education to support capacity building on financial education for teachers. We aim at reaching 500,000 teachers. So we think Telegram will be probably likely the most easy way to talk to teachers. And we're going to focus TikTok for kids and students in school. So that's my presentation. I'll be available for any questions. And if you want to launch a TikTok profile, I will be happy to share all the mistakes we made, so you cannot make the same mistakes. And I'll be available for any questions that you might have. And also, thanks again, Isabella, for Hungary, for having this great idea. We copied your idea, we learned a lot, and I think we are more relevant thanks to your example. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Vasco. This is really quite impressive what you're doing in Brazil, and it's really great to see that that both of you actually in this session. I didn't know. Congratulations! It's great to see collaboration flourishing through the Global Money Week channels. So, Isabella, I mean, great introduction from Vasco already for you, but I know that in addition to what Vasco mentioned, you also are having quite interesting insights stemming from the evaluation that you have conducted of the transition from face-to-face to online activities during Global Money Week. So I'm curious to learn also about this. So I'll give you the floor right now.
Thank you. First of all, let me thank you all for being here today. Let me introduce myself. I am one of the Hungarian GMW coordinator and member of the INFI GMW working group. Why is important the Hungarian results? We are inside the 10 best countries in the world. We reach so many people every year or pupil. I am going to talk about the very attractive Hungarian results and measurement. First of all, some words about the participation trends. We measure Money Week since 2018, and we saw that an unbroken growing is there. But then comes the pandemic. What I should mention that Global Money Week in Hungary is a wide cooperation among three ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Innovation, and the Hungarian Banking Association, and two foundations. One is the Money Compass Foundation, established by the Central Bank, and the Junior Achievement Hungary Foundation. So it's a wide cooperation, and we are very enthusiastic, and we are looking forward what happened in 2022. So due to the increasing pandemic situation in Hungary, the number of participants decreased. We saw at the slide that the last 4 years we had over 1,200 schools every year. So 10% decrease is there. And by the pupils, 20. So we hope that in this year will be the situation better. What about online participation? Our questionnaire was curious what the teachers and volunteers think about online participation. 3/4 of the teachers prefer personal attendance of volunteers, but it's normal. I think it's better to have a VIP person in life in the school. So volunteers were more satisfied with the situation because they could reach small city school also. So our minister, Mr. Mihály Varga, is one of the most popular volunteer, and he opens the GMW every year. We have a short video film which is available at the link if you are curious. Some words about the behavior of students. What we saw that we could keep the attention of students online too, but the interaction, unfortunately, is better offline. So we have some critics about online lessons. You will see at the end. What were the difficulties and which support we gave? The teachers found the difficulties in the interaction, and that they couldn't oversee the whole class. It's normal, and it's more impersonality there. What we done? So we gave webinars like this for teachers, train the trainers motto, and we have a lot of e-learning materials established by the two foundation, and this materials is free downloadable. And the first registers 500 schools get printed learning materials. It's also very popular among the schools. And we use Kahoot, and we established an online calculator for the kids, pocket money calculator. It was a new thing for last year. Some words about the evaluation. What I can say, it's all the best. So we have our own homepage. We have our own logo. You can see at the top right. And this e-learning materials was great success last year. And what was also new, we had VIP persons every year, not only the Minister of Finance, but also the Deputy CEO of the Central Banks, Mr. Kandrach. You see him at the bottom of the page, left, and he gave lessons in connection of the topic. And this whole lesson is available on YouTube channel. And what other good things that my boss, Mr. Laszlo Balog, the Deputy State Secretary and Ministry of Finance, he gave English lesson in connection family budgeting, also available at the YouTube channel. So I think it's a great success. What we offer, several free of charge financial textbooks, also developed by the Money Compass Foundation. You see these books over 400,000 printed exams and downloadable at the homepage. We had targeted application. Congratulations for the Money Compass Foundation. This zöld iránytű means in Hungary, green compass. Sustainable finance is very important in Hungary. So we would like that the kids know how they can share the experience in connection the sustainability. And this jeton calculator is this pocket money calculator what I mentioned. And some words about quizzes, Kahoot, and competitions. These programs are very important in Hungary, and in our scope are the wide range of pupils. We have competitions for elementary schools kids, we have competitions for secondary schools kids, and we have also teams games, and we have competition in connection with the stock exchange, this stock exchange race, very popular among teachers, because this kind of competition is open for teachers and also for parents. And what is with this dog in the middle bottom, this is a competition in connection cyber crimes. So it's very, very exciting for the kids, how they can survive without any trouble in financial world. And Jeton is not only a calculator, but a very successful competition for the secondary school kids. We had over 30,000 participants registered. So, but parents and teachers could only also participants without prizes, and we had 50,000 participants. So, and what we mentioned, this TikTok campaign was in connection with this jeton game and was a very big success. Thank you for the Hungarian Banking Association. He gave the prizes. And what I am so happy, the greatest success of 2021 was the European Money Quiz. This game, organized by the European Banking Federation, was very, very exciting. I hope you could be online on this game in last year. The Hungarian 15 years old Zsófia won this game, and he had from 50 questions, 50 good answers. Congratulations. And the girl. So what I would like to show you, this financial escape room and Moneygo application established or developed by the Money Compass Foundation, is very, very popular among the kids. And Moneygo is not only a escape room game. You can use it in Budapest. So you walk in the castle hill and you should guess, oh, this is the good question, then I could go away. So a very good cooperation with Urban Go gamer. And I congratulate Brazil with so a big satisfaction number. We had in 2016 so a good result, but I hope this 95% is also a good result, and we are very satisfied with that number. We hope that this pandemic situation doesn't make how to say difficult available with the schools. We will see. We are looking forward what happened in 2022. What I can say that it's very important that the enthusiasm of volunteers, of organizers, of teachers, and also students. And if you believe in success, then will be a success, this program. So we ask the teachers what they suggest us to be a better way next year. And they were not so criticism. One told us that students are tired of the online teaching and GMW is better offline. I understand, so it's normal. And they like these financial animations and short films, and we will give a lot of examples this year. And the other was this more colorful life situation in connection to financial topics and discussing financial news. So open doors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isabella. This was really, really interesting, and thanks for sharing all the insights. Thank you for that. I see very good comments also on the chat, and even a question for you from a participant, if they can contact you directly. For yes. the participant who has asked, you can see actually Isabella's email. So I think Isabella is willing to be contacted, so feel free to do that.
Thank you. Thank
you so much. And now I am moving forward to the last but not least of our speakers, who is Vasco from Banco de Portugal, who is going to actually share the experience of Portugal. I have to say, very experienced also, because Portugal has been one of the first countries to join Global Money Week back in 2013. So we're very excited to hear from Luis. And also, Luis, you can tell us what have you learned over all these years, and what has helped you improve from year to year in the almost 10 years that you have organized Global Money Week. So you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bianca. Hi, everyone. I hope you can see my screen. So just a little background to start with. Yes, we've been celebrating Global Money Week in Portugal for a long time. We started off in 2013. The financial supervisors have been carrying out initiatives on Global Money Week under our national strategy, which is the National Plan for Financial Education. And the three financial supervisors, the Central Bank, the Insurance and Pension Funds Authority, and the Securities Market Commission, of course, also have been coordinating activities in Portugal for a long time. And 2 years ago, the national plan, so the national strategy led by these 3 financial supervisors, was officially recognized as the national coordinator of Global Money Week. As the national coordinator, the national plan, of course, monitors the activities taking place. I will now talk a little bit of these monitoring activities. So, in a nutshell, the monitoring for us, I highlighted in this slide the 5 main steps of this monitoring process. We started off by inviting stakeholders and schools, teachers to participate in this event. It is a key issue for us. We ensure that all the initiatives taking place in Global Money Week comply with the national plan's principles. We don't want to see, for instance, financial institutions involved in financial education initiatives. That's one key issue for us at the national plan because of conflicts of interest. And also we check whether it also complies with guidelines from the OECD INFE. If they do comply, then we collect data on these activities, qualitative and quantitative data, and we share this information, this data on our website, on our social media platforms, etc., in order to give visibility to these initiatives. And once the initiative takes place, once Global Money Week takes place, we draft an assessment report and we share the results of this report with OECD. A few pictures here of the campaign last year. Of course, we started off launching on our website, tochcontam.pt, which is also the name of the national strategy, Tochcontam, and a detail of the list of schools that were participating and which as I said, we give visibility to the initiatives of the schools by having each school has a single page on the website describing the initiative, having pictures if possible, etc. And there is a full list of the schools in the website and of the stakeholders also having initiatives. And we also publish posts on social media, and you have also the address of our social media platform in Facebook. I should say I don't have as so impressive figures as my previous colleagues have to tell you, but last year we had 12,000 people involved in initiatives, direct initiatives of Global Money Week, mostly children and youth, of course, 200 schools and 9 institutions involved in these initiatives. Now, turning to the second and more difficult question to answer, and what are the critical factors that make Global Money Week successful in our view? I should start by saying that for us, successful Global Money Week is an event which has a significant outreach and also, and to the extent possible, of course, a meaningful impact on our target audience, which are youngsters. Now, for getting outreach, for promoting outreach, for having outreach on this initiative, we believe there are 3 factors for us which are critical. First, we have to motivate and commit stakeholders of the national plan. That's one distinct characteristic of our working. We, at the national plan, we are a hub of initiatives, and we try as much as possible to have stakeholders involved and helping us creating capillarity and reaching out to different target audiences. So yes, we also had European Money Week initiatives. We also had initiatives in different schools and on different levels from the stakeholders. We try and motivate plus commit these stakeholders to participate with us by giving them support and giving them visibility. Support because they can use our workbooks. The national plan has now published 4 workbooks for different age groups for children, but for different age groups. 4 workbooks, but also a list of videos, digital materials, podcasts. All of those materials are available on our website of the national plan, so that they can use these materials to make their own initiatives. And also we give them visibility. Yeah, last year we had a kickoff webinar where we presented the initiatives that the stakeholders were going to carry out during Global Money Week with the intention of giving them visibility. We also motivate teachers and schools, of course, directly, again, giving them support through these materials that they can use for making initiatives with youngsters. And the visibility is essentially given through the web page, the website, which I mentioned in my previous slide. Not only do we motivate the multipliers, stakeholders and schools, but we also try to reach to our ultimate group, the youngsters, by raising awareness about the importance of financial education, about managing your money smartly, as this year's theme suggests. And we do so by leveraging on digital delivery, campaigns on social media, and of course on our website. Now, turning on to the more challenging, I should say, the more challenging aspect of successful is whether can we or can we not make an impact on our ultimate target group. We believe this is very important. Of course, there are limitations that we can do in awareness raising initiatives such as this, but we try to find creative ways of leaving an impression, leaving a sustainable impact on children. I can highlight two ideas that I think have been working so far. To start with, we try to select around the topics of the theme of Global Money Week theme. We try to select topics which are relevant for youth, that topics with which youngsters can relate to. For instance, if you're talking about using digital channels safely, we believe that the obvious way to talk with children about this is talking about their cell phones, because digital channels for youngsters are cell phones these days. So it is important on our perspective to select topics which are relevant for the daily life, for children's daily life. Another more relevant, more deeply aspect, or another very important factor, we believe, is to try and find creative ways, creative methods to engage children in discussing these topics. We don't want children to simply passively hearing about money. We want them to discuss the topics and to engage themselves in finding solutions to the challenges that they face. One experience that we had last year, which worked pretty well, and I think it's worth mentioning, is we designed lesson plans to send out to schools, so that the teachers would follow a 3-4 step approach, whereby the children had to be involved in this process of learning. Just very briefly, and I can come back to that in more detail if you want. But the idea behind is that, or just these 4 steps were basically started. It started off with a survey that they run through the whole school. All the children participated in the survey about savings patterns of the children, about their risky behavior when using cell phones and accessing financial products for payments, for instance, for making payments. And then they discussed in the classroom the results of these surveys. They discussed among themselves solutions to these challenges, how to save more, tips to do that, and also how to have more safely use of their cell phones. And then they draft a report on the conclusions, and afterwards they even had the chance to discuss their conclusions with other schools on a webinar. So it was a very participated learning process. You can call it an active learning method, so that in the end, we believe the impact was deeper and more sustainable than simply listening to a lecture. We run an assessment report at the end of the initiatives, and I can tell you that on one hand, 97% of the children said that these initiatives did contribute to their learning. The teachers were actually 100%. They did 100% agree with this sentence, and also the teachers, as much as 86% of teachers said that they will carry out other initiatives such as these ones in the future. So I believe there was a sustainable impact on this awareness campaign. And that's it from my side. I'll leave you with a quote from a teacher involved in one of the activities that we believe it shows that students were engaged not only in discussions in the classroom, but also in drafting the conclusions. And that's it from my side. I'm now open to questions. Back to you, Bianca. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. This is really exciting. I really think this is a great idea to have the young people participating and really be part of the discussions and the solutions. In the meantime, we also received a couple of questions in the chat. So we are in the Q&A section, so that is perfect. And there's one question for Vasco. Actually, someone is asking if you can share some of the mistakes that you would say that you would recommend not to do on TikTok. And then there is a question for all the panelists. So maybe while Vasco is answering the question about the TikTok, you can start thinking about the answers to this other question, which is basically about the funding of your activities of the Global Money Week. So how that is structured, if you can share some insights. So Vasco, maybe you can start on the TikTok do's and do nots.
Perhaps I can have a more structured presentation for the next time, but I can tell you that it's quite difficult to create content for TikTok, especially if you are a regulator. Sometimes, for example, we have very successful posts when we are talking about cognitive biases for heuristics, saying loss aversion biases and other. But to talk about this on TikTok is quite complex, and also can perhaps convey the wrong message, because we are a regulator and we are talking about behaviors. This could be interpreted as hiding message. We published was the most successful post about fraud in Brazil, and we were picturing actually a wolf with which was dressed like, you know, a sheep. And so, and by the time when we published, there was a reaction, like 1 million people, you know, reacting, because there was some investigations in Brazil, and a newspaper said, oh, this is a message CVM is trying to convey about this. So there was no relation. It was something completely out of the blue. We had to deal with that. It was not TikTok by that time. And we are investing a lot of, about TikTok, we're investing a lot of resources and time. It's quite time consuming, but we are still not very successful in terms of followers. You need to reach a upper limit, a minimum limit of followers, so that the algorithm can promote your profile. We are probably going to move now to lives on TikTok on financial education, and we are following some influencers here that are using TikTok very successful to talk about investment, because TikTok's all about videos and all about very funny things, and some of the jokes that we plan are not so funny when a regulator is in that place. So I don't have the perhaps I would like to share, you know, reflect more and perhaps have something to share with participants in a more structured way. But I think Isabella also may have some, because we got a lot of insights from Hungary.
Thank you, Vasco. So let me turn then to Isabella, if you have some insights, Isabella, and you can make a question as well.
I read a very good article in connection with how to catch the kids' attention. We have only 6 seconds to catch the attention. Therefore, TikTok is very good. In the classroom, we have chance with short videos, but in real life, we have no chance. With good TikTok campaign, we can reach the youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella. So the other question was about funding. Maybe if one of you would like to mention how it works in your countries, how is this organized?
I wrote something in the chat box. I hope everybody could see, but I can tell you, in Hungary, we had a wide cooperation, 3 ministries and 2 NGOs and the Hungarian Banking Association, and they finance the budget. So that's shared budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
About social media, we made a decision not to hire a firm, because we tried this in the past, but was quite difficult to you know, have the right messages, because the journalists or the professionals were not very familiar with our not only about technical content, but about culture, about what regulator can say, even in an informal way, because there are things that you can't touch. So, and this is quite dynamic, it's changing. So we decided to have our own in-house production. So it's a long process, but we also think that these help us to learn. And because we are not selling products, we are selling educational advice, and it's quite different. So I'm not saying that it's a bad idea to hire a firm, not saying that, but that's the approach we choose here, was also to be, you know, to protect our initiative and to avoid any problems that might happen with social media. So there's no costs on our social media activities because it's basically the CVM staff. And of course, we hire a lot of interns because they are young people. They do this on TikTok. So we're just trying to control their impulses and say, no, don't do this, do this. But it's a very good intergenerational discussion. I'm learning a lot about the new investors with our interns.
With regard to financing activities of the national plan, I should say that our model is a decentralized one. So there's not much to say in the sense that each one pays its own bills. We are a hub of initiatives. So the general rule is that whenever the 3 financial supervisors carry out an event, the costs of the event will be borne by each of the supervisors on equal terms. In some cases, that's not possible. If you want to launch, for instance, a website, then you have to have a common budget. And then in these particular cases, we do have a common budget. But the general rule in terms of the activities of the national plan is each entity has its own expenses with the initiative.
Thank you, Luis. And while there's another question that came in the chat for you, and maybe while you reply, I can ask my colleague Valeria to put up the evaluation poll for this webinar because we're approaching the end. And we would also like to see if you found this webinar helpful. But I give you back the floor, Luis, to answer this question actually on the active campaign, so the active learning campaign that you mentioned with the young people here. Someone is asking if you can give a little bit more insights and specific example of the choice of topics that you had and that you proposed to the young people to discuss and how you actually engage them into the discussion. So basically a little bit more details of the on the program you made on active learning with the young people.
Yes, as I mentioned, so we devised lesson plans. Actually, it was a pilot project with a few 500 students from different schools. And the idea was, of course, we have videos and materials talking about the importance of saving and the importance of staying online safely. But instead of just offering these materials to the children and having them supposedly read or see these videos, we tried to think of ways to make them involved in the learning process. And that's why we started off by asking the schools to run surveys on what were the children's behavior on 2 dimensions. First, what was the children's behavior in terms of savings? Did they save? Did they not? Why not? What kind of saving patterns did they have? And then the other topic was the use of cell phones to make payments. Have you ever done a payment? Have you ever carried out a payment? Even if it was not your cell phone, but your father's cell phone, that was not easy. That was not critical. And then, could you identify some risky behaviors that you had when using cell phones? For instance, using public Wi-Fi's. For instance, offering your password to friends. All this kind of risky behaviors. And so these surveys were the starting point, because all of the school was supposed to answer the survey, and in each classroom the children were to discuss the results on these 2 dimensions and strategies to improve savings, strategies to overcome and minimize these risks. So it was an active process, this learning, and they did engage very strongly in these discussions. They came up with ideas, very creative ideas. And in the end, they had to defend these ideas. They had to argue on these ideas with other schools, with children from other schools. So again, sort of competition between an element of brainstorming also on that sense. As I said, this was a pilot project, and this year our plan is to disseminate these lesson plans across the schools, so that we'll have a large-scale impact on this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Luis, for answering this question. And in the meantime, I also saw there was a question coming from Azerbaijan. So the colleagues from Azerbaijan are mentioning that they are planning to celebrate the Global Money Week a week later because of national holidays. So that's okay from our side. You can basically just inform us when you are filling in your pre-campaign form. Just mention that the Global Money Week will take place 1 week later. So there is a little flexibility in that way, when in the case where you have national holidays exactly on the dates of the Global Money Week. So we are approaching the end. I would like to take a couple of minutes to thank very much our speakers of today, to thank Vasco, Isabella, and Luis. I think we had very interesting examples from your countries, very insightful presentations and experiences. It's really great to see that you are collaborating behind the scenes, actually, with you here in the call, but also with other participants. I also saw Vasco mentioning some potential activities with Lusophone countries. So please get in touch with Vasco if you'd like to, and Luis, if you'd like to organize something during the Global Money Week on that. I encourage you also to get in touch with the Global Money Week Secretariat. If you have any questions, we're here to help you. And we wish you all a very, very successful Global Money Week in 2022. And we will be in touch with you with more updates and more exciting news for the Global Money Week launch and other activities. So thank you all once again, and I wish you a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.